And joining us today on the program, great to welcome a woman who has put together some of the BrainQuest games. You've had people on before talking about them. Got 3 new ones out called BrainQuest for the Car, America, and the President's Edition. We're joined by Susan Bolotin today. She's the editor-in-chief and acting publisher for Workman Publishing. And Susan, I believe we talked before on one of these games. I know we've had several versions on, but I believe you've been with us before. How you been?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to have a chance to chat with you about these games. I know every time we have either yourself or other people that put them together, people give us some good feedback on them, and this is an edition of three new ones out, right?
Yes, 3 new ones. So for people who don't know what they are, they're hard to imagine because they've been around for more than 20 years, but BrainQuest are curriculum-based question and answer trivia games that come in deck form, and the basic decks go from early education through grade 7, but we've got these 3 new decks which are geared, it's just perfect for the summer. One is about America and everything about our country. One is about presidents from George Washington to Barack Obama, and the other one is called For the Car. It is also about the United States, but it is geared to travel. It's got lots of games and activities in it that you can do while you're traveling, so you can learn and remember what you know about the United States and keep busy and not annoy your parents while you're traveling.
Well, one thing I like, and I think I mentioned it before, if not to you, then one of the other people that put them together, with all these video games and Game Boys and whatever they call them today, it's nice to see kind of a throwback with these BrainQuest games to come out. It's just card game and like a quiz game. It's good to see.
And I think that's really important. That over the summer, that parents have a lot of things that maybe they want to do, but one of the things they want to certainly do is make sure that their kids don't experience that summer slump, that everything they learned in the previous year they've forgotten by September. So the BrainQuest will help them keep their brains fresh. The other thing is that you can't open the paper without reading research about the detrimental effect of too much time spent in front of a screen, particularly for young children. So of course you want them to go outside and play, but there are times when they need to sit down, or they're tired, or it's hot, or they're in a car, and you want to do something with them sometimes that is unplugged and that involves a different part of their brain, and BrainQuest does that.
I want to think, nothing wrong with video games, but in moderation. But when kids do that, they're just kind of looking at it. They're not interacting with other people. At least you can talk to your brother or sister or your parents when you play these BrainQuest
Right,
games.
you ask questions of one another. And the other thing is that I find that sometimes the most basic question, you can ask a question and then that would lead to a conversation about something else, So, for instance, a Florida question might be that the Florida Keys are built on animal skeletons. Is that true or false? Mm-hmm. Now, you're from Florida, so you probably know it's true.
I would say true, yes.
Animal skeletons. But the whole idea of the environment and about how our land masses are constructed, it gives you something to actually talk about and not just, sit there and twiddle your thumbs.
No, it's interactive, and that's we don't get enough of that nowadays. I think the art of talking to each other is going away.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit again for those that people have not been with us before. How do you kind of put together? I know you have different categories, which you talked about, but what's the process of putting a particular game together? Maybe the President's one, for example.
Okay, so what we do is that we go to educators whose specialty is this subject. So we go to somebody who really knows about presidents, and we have them tell us what is the curriculum, what are kids expected to know about the presidents, and then we have somebody write up questions that are fun and that cover the appropriate material. Then it goes back to a teacher who vets the material and makes sure that it's culturally relevant, up to date, accurate, and so on. And then we take one more pass at it and we just make sure that it's really, really fun. So that, because what we want kids to remember is that learning is really fun and knowing stuff is really fun. So I'll ask you a question. Did William Taft's wife call him Prince Charming, Sleeping Beauty, or Sinbad the Sailor?
I'll say Prince Charming.
No, it was Sleeping Beauty. Because
Really?
President Taft, as you remember, he was a man of a certain
Big guy,
size.
right.
He would nod off to sleep in the White House, even while other people were talking. So, it's a fun fact to know. You begin to get a visualization of the man. And also, you get a sense of how exhausting being president is. Every time I see a picture of President Obama, I think he just looks more and more tired. It's like it gives you something to talk about with the kids.
I learned something today, Susan. I did not know that about Taft.
Yeah.
And you've sold, just reading some of the notes we got, about 38 million copies. So you're doing it right.
It's quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
These games available, I guess, in most stores, but also online. What's the best place to get them?
Yes, you can go to bookstores, to toy stores, to gift stores, to warehouse clubs. They're certainly available online. If anybody has trouble finding them, they could always go to BrainQuest.com, and we would direct them to a retailer. And also, BrainQuest.com is fun because there are interactive games for kids to play right there on the site, and it gives you a sense of how the question-answer format works.
Are you always working on new categories, new topics?
Yeah, we basically are looking at the core curriculum, and that's where we really are putting our energy. We want kids to know how to do math, how to read, how to be active thinkers, and certainly to know about their country. We also have BrainQuest Canada for the Canadian, our neighbors to the north there, we're really looking at what we consider and what educators consider to be the core knowledge that every kid should have.
Great. BrainQuest for the car, America and Presidents, the newest edition's just out. But one of these great things about these games, the older versions or previous versions are still available. You can get them if you have new kids that come into the family. So it's a perennial, isn't it?
True. They are now up to date.
Susan Bolotin, thanks for joining us today. I know we have limited time, but when the next versions come out, we'd love to have you back on again. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.